Testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Testing.
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 1, 2, 1,
Testing.
2, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Betty bought some butter, but she said this butter is bitter.
The butter was bitter.
If I put it in my batter, that will make my batter bitter. Thus,
Yes, it would make the
Betty
batter bitter.
bought a bit of better butter, and she put the bit of better butter in her bitter batter. She crazy.
That is better. The butter is better in that one.
The butter is so much better.
Therefore, the bitter batter would be less bitter.
Oh yeah. What?
I think that's a good way to start the episode.
Yeah, I think so. Spooky.
True. Hello, and welcome to our new podcast. The Podcast Parents.
Indeed, that's us.
Yes, I'm
yes.
Danny.
I'm Winter.
And we decided to take our relationship to the next level, not by becoming parents, not by getting a plant together. We already did that.
Yeah.
Got a money tree. Because they say money doesn't grow on trees, but we'll prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
And not by getting a dog or a cat, because I'm allergic to cats. And
sadly,
yeah. So we decided to have a podcast together. Two creatives and stuff decided to, use a creative medium that can be ours. So that makes us podcast parents.
That does. And you are our podcast children.
Yes. Our
babies.
Our podcast babies. This is our podcast baby.
Oh my God, this is our podcast family. Danny,
yes.
we did it.
Our podcast cult even.
Oh no.
And you are all our podcast babies.
Not yet. They still have to be sworn in. Okay.
We can't.
Step at a time.
Yeah, we can't put it on too strong.
Yeah. 0 to 100. Not yet. Yes, indeed. So what should we start off with? What's the theme of the day, Daniel?
Well, because it's like the first episode and stuff.
Yeah, it's a pilot, right? Yeah.
Figured a little bit of a chill episode, a little bit shorter, talking about anything really. Just kind of talking about what the podcast could be like, what we were thinking of doing, how the podcast is maybe going to run moving forward and stuff. General things. Maybe just a couple of things about who we are a little bit.
Okay.
Just kind of vibing, lifestyle stuff.
Sure.
And then we'll get to our segments later and we'll break down kind of how the podcast is going to be like moving forward.
Gotcha. So you want to start off with a little introduction, a little spoof, a little thingy?
A little spoof, a little
spoof
thingy?
for you, yeah.
A little bit of who's Danny?
Yeah, who's Danny? Tell me, who really is Danny?
I don't know. I ask myself that question every day.
Danny, not your existential crisis, just an introduction.
So Danny is me.
Yeah, that's
I
you.
am a filmmaker based in the tri-state area.
Indeed.
Doing my thing on YouTube, Instagram, social media, trying my best, and also trying to make proper narrative films and just creative things in general. I'm just chilling.
Just chilling like a villain?
Yeah. Some people might know me from Scooby-Doo, which is my first of my more recent podcasts.
Indeed.
I had podcasts in the past, but we don't have to talk about those necessarily.
Yeah. If you listen to episode, I believe, 2 of Scooby-Doo. Oh no, it's the first one. Episode 1 of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, we predicted COVID?
Not only did they predict COVID, but they were like, we stopped discovering B words. Now we're doing this podcast. Well, he rediscovered a B word.
I said the B word?
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
I think I said women.
Women?
I said, no, I don't.
Right.
That's not a word that I tend to say.
I see. Okay.
I would have said something along the lines of, I had to stop watching Scooby-Doo because I discovered women.
Yeah.
But good thing I got past that.
Are you really past that? Are you sure?
No, I'm not past that. But I'm better for it. But that doesn't mean I'm past Scooby-Doo. I'm not.
Agreed. Yeah.
Both can coexist. Exactly. Scooby-Doo is the best. And then judging by maybe whenever this podcast comes out, Scooby-Doo might be back, but who knows? Maybe I'm making a false promise, but saying it out loud makes it real.
Yeah.
So it'll make me more motivated to actually do it.
Oh yeah. Now it's in your actual words.
It's in the ether. Yeah. It's literally recorded. It has to be held against me.
It has to. You have to conjure it. Manifest that. Yeah.
A podcast I did after Scooby-Doo was called Dead by Danny, which I did an experiment to see how many times in a row I can watch Evil Dead 2. It was supposed to last a month. Every single day of that month, I watched Evil Dead 2 and reviewed it and talked about something. Half the episodes, I watched Evil Dead 2 and something else. So I talked about 2 movies that episode. and it was a successful experiment. I don't know what I was trying to find. I like to do this thing where I like drive myself a little bit crazy for, I don't know, I think it produces
The sake of art.
yeah, but in an interesting way.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're doing nonfiction content or nonfiction anything, film, art, anything, putting yourself to the extremes, which I also think in narrative makes for most interesting stories, putting characters in extremes makes for the most interesting outcome.
Right.
So, like I did a documentary about ghost hunting, and it was the similar thing where I put myself to an extreme, and I feel like that made for the most interesting version of that documentary. All that to say, that's what Dead by Danny was. Seeing if I would be driven crazy by a movie that I love so much. I literally have part of it tattooed on me in my favorite scene of the movie. Groovy, yeah. After Dead by Danny, for a short stint, I did a podcast called Kaiju Man Dan. That kind of just became hard to maintain because it was a one-man podcast and all the episodes were long.
Right.
But that was a podcast where I watched Godzilla movies and things adjacent to Godzilla and just kind of discussed them. It was just a fun little outlet. I had a lot of fun making the art for it and all that kind of stuff. But although I will not call it dead. It is there as just for me to be able to enjoy and go back to and discuss any sort of stuff in that medium at any point if I want to. But yeah, that's Kaiju Man Dan. So those are my 3 podcasts that if you are listening to this, maybe you know, maybe I don't know, maybe you should listen to them. If Scooby Duo is back, you should definitely listen to Scooby Duo.
Scooby Duo isn't back yet. You gotta go binge all the episodes first. That's like a requirement.
I mean, Scooby Duo was a podcast where we were watching and reviewing Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated episode by episode. So technically, there's lore.
Yeah.
The episodes, excuse me. The episodes, they have like continuity technically because we are watching a TV show.
Right.
But that was a comedy podcast, so it's a lot of jokes and movie reviews. But it lent way more into the comedy, whereas my other podcasts have lent a little bit more into the.
And you gotta be like in on the inside jokes too. Like,
exactly.
That was just one of them we were discussing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and I guess online creatively, you can also find my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Danny Reguino. That'll be linked at the description, end of the podcast, yada, 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 Instagram, social media. There's no need to get into that right now. But yeah, just filmmaker, creative, kind of young person interested in making art and making art with, the beautiful, lovely woman in front of me.
Who's that?
Well, would you like to introduce them?
Well, hello. My name is Winter. I am a student at the beginning of my cinema studies journey, I guess you could say. I have not created any films yet, but I am on my way. What have I done though? I have taken part in many theater programs. I'm a huge theater kid, huge theater nerd. As far as movies go, I've always been a bit of a movie buff. Don't ask me any questions about random trivia though, because I can't remember. But I do enjoy watching movies, especially with my co-star Daniel.
Yeah.
Because he's got the greatest commentary ever. It makes it very interesting.
Yeah. I just talk and point out things that nobody cares about, but things that catch my attention. Yeah?
Yeah.
When I point out random things like, doesn't look like Knuckles is properly tracked into the scene in Sonic 2.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and then I have to explain what I'm talking about because I'm speaking in tongues.
Or how about Dr. Michael Morbius?
Oh, Mr. Michael Morbius.
Sorry, pardon. My apologies. Yeah.
Not to spoil the greatest movie ever made or anything, but let's just say Mr. Michael Morbius breaks the Hippocratic Oath a little bit.
Ooh,
he should have his doctorate taken away. He doesn't deserve to be a doctor.
Yeah, true thing, honestly. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I'm interested in not only movies, but I love music. I'm very much into music. I've always wanted to create music. I tried to learn the guitar when I was 7. Did not last long. My attention span is not the greatest.
I feel that.
Yeah, but there is an attempt there. So I definitely am a huge music appreciator, a huge concert connoisseur. So that will eventually lead us into the end of our episode. There's a little bit of a musical surprise there, but you have to wait till the end.
I have a little segment at the end.
We'll get to a little bit something.
Yeah, and we both have our interests that are both aligned and are both like maybe unique from one another. We come from different backgrounds and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm really into like superheroes and video games and skateboarding, and we're both into like rock and metal and different kind of things. But you know, things that are
I
interesting.
definitely come from more of the like the spiritual. Like I'm really into nature. I sound really boring.
Oh.
I'm really into like theater and just all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have an appreciation for like good superhero movies. Like Spider-Man 2 was my favorite. I used to watch it on repeat. Green Goblin is definitely the best villain. He's always gonna be my
He is
favorite.
the best villain.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
What else, Daniel?
What else?
What else?
I don't know. We're both literature nerds.
Oh, that's right. There's a whole realm out there. Yeah, of books. I forgot.
Yeah.
Totally forgot.
Yeah, we're both into both books of like fiction, nonfiction. Are you into any nonfiction?
A little bit.
A little bit?
Just a healthy amount, yeah. I definitely pick like, fiction, like dark suspense horror, or like even apocalyptic horror, or elevated horror.
Elevated horror?
Accelerated horror.
Accelerated horror?
Indeed, yeah.
Sonic 2?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it Sonic the Hedgehog 2 or is it Sonic 2 the Hedgehog?
Oh, that's such a good question. One of life's great questions.
If only there was some way of
If
knowing.
only we had an answer.
If we had a big encyclopedia maybe on the internet, which we can just check, but that would be too much to ask.
Yeah, genuinely.
There's no way of knowing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the rest of my life not knowing the answer, and neither.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll accept our fate now.
But yeah, I go in phases with books, to be honest. I love Japanese literature that even like translated to English, of course, like novels and stuff. I don't know why I'm a huge nerd for like, I don't know, Murakami and Yukio Mishima and Dazai and all these like old like 20th century Japanese novelists. And I also have read like a shit ton of manga and comic books and stuff all over the place. I go through bits where like maybe I read history books, just a bunch of history books, and I'm like, I have to read history books. Fiction is just, I don't have an attention span right now, and then it flips. I have more of an attention span for nonfiction books, funnily enough.
Really?
Even though I consume mostly fiction.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of that spectrum as far as attention span goes. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to like real life stuff, we already know. Like, real life stuff is very predictable. I guess you could say. Like, throw me like a plot twist.
Yeah.
Throw me something crazy, like horror stuff.
Yeah. No, I
That's
agree.
another
I've read so much like Stephen King, so many like horror books growing up and stuff like that. Throughout a lot of high school was like a lot of horror books, and mystery books. I read all the Sherlock Holmes like of the early canon.
Wow, that's commitment.
There's not too many, to be honest. Like of the OG,
Just
like
still, regardless, like staying consistent with a storyline, that's more than I could say. I have trouble staying committed to like certain series. The only series that I've actually committed to was Raina, and excuse me if I say it incorrectly, to Legomeyer's series back in middle school. Was the Babysitter Club graphic novels. Then there was recently as in like the past 5 to 10 years, there was Smile, Sisters, Drama. So all those ones, like her just style in general, I really, really loved because it was very thoroughly translated and the story was interesting and the art was great. So, but yeah, as far as like series goes, I really admire that about you. With the commitment to
I think. I think you also have really good taste when it comes to a lot of media stuff.
Danny, we're not at the compliment section yet.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I also consume a lot of audiobooks. So I think in audio medium, nonfiction is way easier to consume because it almost plays like a podcast, where it's like you're listening to someone talk about just the truth. Like I love listening to like maybe philosophy books or like psychology books, which is a weird thing to say, but because they're mostly based of essays and like things that people would have lectured about, it's almost like you're listening to one of those.
Almost sounds like a class of some sort.
Yeah.
Or like a class by like decision, like college campus, this kind of thing.
Like something you chose to do.
Right.
Like if you're in a class, it feels boring.
Yeah, and it feels like you're stuck there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, I want to read, I don't know, what did the greatest samurai of all time write in his book about martial arts? The Book of Five Rings. What is, I don't know. I want to read that book.
Yeah.
So I read that book because I was like, the fuck does this guy have to say? He's the greatest samurai of all time. What could he possibly have to say? But yeah, things like that. Or like the history, like samurai history or medieval history, things like that. I don't know. My brain just goes brrr.
Understandable. You recently suggested 2 very good titles to me that are of the Japanese literature. One of them being a manga, a story called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Yeah. Which I was a little offset by at first. And then like also like the whole style of reading mangas was very different than what I'm used to. Because I usually stick to like, besides graphic novels growing up, I like the classic novel format where it's like words, that kind of thing. So in meeting you, I've opened myself a little bit more to graphic novels and manga and things of those mediums as well. And I'm very happy that I did because it's like it's a whole new world. It's a very good story as well. Yeah.
And I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is not only a manga, but it is also based on a novel. So the version that I recommended to you was the manga version because that is my version of choice, I guess. I feel like it gives you more of a connection to the characters when you can see what they look like. Right. Even though there's a level of like connection you have when it is in your head when you are reading the novel. But to me, for whatever reason, I connected more with the manga version than the novel version. Right. And there's a movie for it too. There's 2 movies.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So it's been on the whole spectrum of novel, comic book, animated movie, live action movie.
But for a story to be available in so many mediums, it must have some sort of value and demand as well. Yeah. Yeah, by readers in general.
I agree. I love that story. Yeah, that is one of the few books that have just made me cry.
Listeners, you gotta check it out 100%. Regardless if it's the novel version, the manga version, or even just the movie. Yeah. Yeah, there's something in it for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I know some people who I recommended just the anime version, like just the movie, and same reaction where they're like, "Oh my god, it's so good." So if that's your thing, if maybe reading is a little bit too big, like, you know, I understand. Sometimes reading is like a big commitment. Right. Even if it is a comic book, it is still like a thick one. Yeah. So if you do want to experience that story, the animated movie is still a great way to do it. Animated movie made me cry too, and I already knew what was going to happen. Yeah. So, yeah. It was a different scene, but it hit the same. Yeah.
I have to brace myself now.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, that movie is phenomenal. It does really good things. I haven't seen the live action one. I'm like scared too.
There's a live action one too? Jeez.
Sometimes with Japanese live action movies, especially based on like mangoes, or
mangoes and whatnot.
Yeah, you know, mangoes, those Japanese comic books, mangoes.
Yeah, dude.
They can be a bit corny. Right. They can be a bit like TV showy.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and that's something that I've been turned off to as well. That's why I was like so weary about entering that genre of not only literature but anime as well. So in middle school, I tried out One Piece and I watched The Devil's a Part-Timer, and that I feel fit that age range. But then, not saying that anyone of any other age range can't enjoy it. But for me personally, as I got older, it was harder to love those stories the same. And I didn't realize that there was a whole world out there of much more mature stories that is still in that style and that format. Yeah. And that they're capable of being appreciated that way. I thought that was super cool too. So that's another thing that I've received in getting to know you. Yeah.
I think there's so much in every medium that you can pull from. Yeah. Especially something like anime, for example, if we're going to talk on that subject. There's a little bit of everything for everyone. Right. But a lot of people are turned off by it from whatever notion they have of like the style or like whatever they've experienced, which is usually kid stuff. Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, that kind of stuff.
Stuff that's cartoony and whatnot.
Yeah. But, you know, because it is an animated medium, animation is like the possibilities are literally endless. Right. So you have things like that can be hilarious. You have things that can be incredibly dramatic and realistic, and you have things that can be incredibly dramatic and fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can have things that are just kind of fun and silly that like play into like the things that.
Well then.
I'm considering not editing that out because that's just kind of funny. What is that? What are they talking?
I don't know.
Do you want to theorize about whatever they're screaming about? You think? Are they saying words?
I don't think those were words.
What do you think they were?
They sound like an exclamation.
Exclamation?
An exclamation of what I think is a good time.
A good time?
Yeah, like she just had like a fun night out, and now she's like coming down from that adrenaline high.
Mm-hmm.
So she's on her walk home, and she's like, "Yeah, I did it. I went out and socialized today."
That's it. That's my energy for the day. I'm gonna go pass out on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I hear through the mic. It sounds so far away, but
It wasn't that far.
I assume it's more clear to you.
It wasn't that far to the point where I thought it was a little spooky.
Mm-hmm.
A little spooky and whatnot.
A little bit of spooky.
A
A little bit of a poltergeist. We're gonna need to have a ghost bust up in here.
We might.
We might need to have a ghost bust up in here.
We might need to do that.
Do I need to bust some ghosts?
Yeah, I think so.
I think I might have to bust some ghosts.
Yeah.
I've fulfilled my character arc.
Yeah, you really have.
I used to pretend to be a Ghostbuster, and then I literally became a Ghostbuster. So now you can kind of say I'm like a licensed Ghostbuster.
You feel that license?
Mm-hmm.
By whomst?
By whomst?
Whomst. Yourself?
I'm a self-taught Ghostbuster.
Ah, okay. Yes.
I've been graced by the
Ghostbusting gods?
Let's just say I have a textbook called Ghostbusting for Dummies or Ghost Hunting for Zombies by the legendary Zach Bagans. Zach Bagans, yeah.
Zach Bagans.
Mm-hmm.
The man, the myth, the legend.
The Hobbit himself.
Oh my god. Goblin King.
The Goblin King. Yeah, he wrote a little textbook called Ghost Hunting for Dummies.
Did you study that like all day? All night?
I legitimately did actually read it.
All week, all month, all year?
I kind of bought it as a joke because it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And when I was actually researching ghost hunting, it was like a legitimate source.
Did you cite it like MLA style?
I actually brought it on a ghost hunt with me once, and it's in the documentary, and we pull it out and like refer to it, and I'm like, "Where's the Bible? Where's the Bible?" And we pull it out, and it's the fucking Yellow for Dummies book with Zach Bagans on the cover.
So good. Danny, have you ever seen the movie Ghost?
Yeah.
What? Oh my love. That one?
What was that? Can you say that to the mic? I want to hear that as clearly as I possibly can.
With the, oh my love, my darling. That one?
Oh, like the film Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I thought you were saying.
Band, the film.
I thought you were like the movie Ghost, and I was like, ooh, who's this? Who's the movie Ghost?
I was imitating the movie Ghost. Nice.
Yeah, that's what the movie Ghost says.
That's exactly what he sounds like.
He's sculpting his little pottery.
You think? Do you think he sculpts his pottery in the back of the beater?
Oh yeah, like Pee Wee Herman. He's sculpting his pottery back there.
Oh my God! Stop.
Do you know about that? You want to cut that out? Are you sure?
PG-13, Daniel.
I'm tempted to leave that in.
Oh my God. My parents are going to listen to this.
Oh, blink twice if you actually want me to cut that out. Okay. Actually. I'm going to have to cut this part out anyways.
You can leave it.
Oh, yeah, you sure?
Leave it. Yeah.
Okay.
That movie theater ghost, he's really up to no good, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, besides the movie theater ghost, I mean, like, the
Well, that's a
movie
different ghost.
What do you think?
I think it's a good movie.
Good movie?
Mhm.
Yeah, how much out of 5 stars?
I haven't seen it in a while.
You might have to rewatch it then.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd be down to rewatch it.
I think I actually rewatched it like right around the time that I met you.
Yeah?
Yeah,
We definitely have talked about it before.
we definitely have. And I've definitely sang that song to you before
Mm-hmm.
as well. Let's get a deja vu doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I would definitely. I think I would give it a good score, but I would want to see it again just so I can just.
Understandable. What's been some recent stuff we've been consuming as media connoisseurs?
As media connoisseurs.
Yes.
What's some stuff we've been consuming?
Shall we include a little bit of things about The Walking Dead?
Oh yeah.
The Walking Dead. Yes.
So?
Yes.
I was thinking. Yeah, we've been watching The Walking Dead slowly but surely, just kind of casually.
Casually, here and there.
We might do maybe our next episode. We'll go into more detail about it, but.
Oh, little sneak peek.
Yeah, remember the teaser for next week? Who knows? We're do a fucking teaser for next week. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of the things we enjoy doing together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy watching things together.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy consuming a little bit of the same content, listening to the same kind of music, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Maybe read similar books. We recommend each other books, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Do you have anything that you could recommend to me for this episode?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that can maybe bring us to our we have a segment planned?
We do.
How does this segment go,
We
Winter?
do.
Something about the just suggest.
I'm sorry, what does that say?
You know
What
the
was that?
segment it goes to just suggest.
You mean the just suggestion?
Yeah, just
Yeah, no, let's sound this out, Daniel. It's just
suggest.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll hop right into it. What kind
Yeah.
of thing are you suggesting for me today?
Well, should we explain the just suggesting thing a little bit?
Alright, sure, go a little bit into it.
Yes. The just
Yes,
suggesting
yes.
section.
Yes.
So the just suggesting section, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Suggest something to me. Suggest something to you.
Yeah.
Maybe we suggest something to you, the babies.
The babies, the
Maybe
children?
we suggest something to the babies.
Yeah, we should.
Maybe the babies suggest something to us.
Yeah, because we are what?
We're the podcast parents.
Exactly.
And they're the podcast babies.
We're the podcast babies.
This is our podcast baby. They're listening
This
to.
is our podcast baby right here.
Mhm. This is our podcast baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, listener, you are our podcast baby. Like, we
Yeah.
see you sitting on the couch eating those chips that you shouldn't be eating.
I see you not paying attention on the road while you're driving, listening to this.
Hey, come on now. Come on. That's not okay. Don't
Yeah.
podcast and drive. Come on.
Listen, I see you trying to write an essay, but maybe you're getting a little bit distracted because you're listening to us, your
Yeah,
podcast,
'cause
mommy
we're
and
so
daddy.
much more interesting than your history essay
Mhm.
on the Western civilization.
maybe you're at a job. Maybe you're working a service job and you're sweeping the floors and you want to listen to something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see you. We're right
we see
here. I'm right here in your ear.
Mm-hmm. So hi.
Yeah, it's us.
Behind you.
It's podcast mommy and daddy right here.
Oh my god. Stop.
You don't like that one? Podcast parents?
Let's just leave it at parrots.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Every now and then, you're members of our cult.
Indeed.
Remember that.
That also reminds me, this is a hydration reminder. So, listener that hasn't been hydrating recently, I know and I see you.
Drink some water.
Yeah, you gotta drink that water. You
Don't
gotta
get some
drink that
cramps.
aqua. Come on.
Mhm.
Come on now.
You're gonna get lightheaded.
Yeah, you are. And
Drink water. Don't forget.
it's good for your skin, it's good for your hair, it's good for your nails, it's good for everything.
Are you feeling tired? You feeling a little cranky? Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Drink some water. Even bring a cup when you go to bed. Drink some water. Don't leave it on the edge of the end table though. Don't knock it over.
Drink water before bed. Pee.
Mm-hmm.
Then go to sleep.
Exactly. That's in that exact order.
If you're in bed listening to this podcast, maybe trying to listen to something that'll put you to sleep a little bit. Because I like to listen to podcasts. I put on a 15-minute snooze sometimes, and I go to sleep to that. Make sure did you drink water before you lay down?
No.
Did you?
I don't think I
You
did.
didn't? Drink some water.
Yeah.
Drink some water.
Yeah. I do that. Mhm.
If you haven't drinking water throughout this entire little bit we've been doing for like a minute, what are you doing? Drink some water.
Yeah. Exactly.
And what are you hitting that little skip 30 seconds ahead thing? Well,
Well, guess what? Here's 30 more seconds.
yeah, 30 more
We're
seconds.
still
Drink some
telling you
water.
to drink
Listen. Maybe you want to fast forward.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to fast forward past this bit because maybe you did drink some water.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna stop talking about drinking some water.
But you should go drink
But you
some
should
more
drink some water. You should definitely drink some water right now. I think if you haven't drinking some water, you definitely gotta drink some water.
Yeah. Agree. Mm-hmm. So, Danny.
Did you drink some water yet? I don't know. But yeah,
So-
just suggesting.
Just suggested.
Because that's all this
Bring
section.
it
This
back.
section's about just suggesting.
That's all it is.
Are you to me to you, us to you to me, you to
Us to
us,
we?
us to we? Maybe
Us to we.
maybe use particularly to me or use particularly to Winter.
Uh-huh.
Maybe. Listen, this is just This is just suggesting.
Listen, this is our podcast family, and here in our podcast family, we suggesting.
We just suggesting. That's what we just be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Just suggesting.
That's the right thing.
Do you have anything to just suggest this week, Winter?
Oh, you're gonna throw me under the bus and give me a start?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I think I should wrap up mine because I'll transition to this Song of the Dead segment. Oh no, I spoiled it.
We'll get there, but let's have a little bit of a suggestion.
Sorry, I'm just so excited. It's our first episode. My apologies.
That's natural.
Danny, you should go first.
I should go first? I see what you're doing. You're trying to think of a suggestion. Well, I have a suggestion for you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it?
It is either the novel or the mango version of I Had That Same Dream Again.
Is that the same author and writer as I Want to Eat Your Pancreas?
Well, the mango version is drawn by the same author.
Yes.
And the writer is the same, yes.
Yes.
It is, without spoiling it, maybe just a little like back of the book summary for the audience out there too. It is a coming of age story for sure of a young girl, like middle school age girl, who is encountering these women in her life at different age groups. She's friends with this old lady. She's friends with this older woman. She's kind of like a free spirit little girl, kind of walks around after school and just kind of hangs out, talks to strangers. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. But there's a lot of, it's definitely a coming of age kind of story, and all the characters find themselves in their own ways. I think it's super fascinating. I think it's something that I enjoyed it a lot. It also, that is another one that brought tears to my eyes, even though it was a book. There's no other adaptation of it. So if you're going to want to read it, the easiest version to read is the one with pictures in it. Audience.
It's visually stimulating.
It's visually stimulating. The art is beautiful.
Yeah.
And the cover is beautiful too. I love the style of these books.
Yeah.
But yeah, I Had That Same Dream Again. I personally recommend the manga version. I haven't actually read the novel for that one, but those are the only two mediums. So if you're maybe more of a novel person, you can read the novel. If you're maybe more of a comic book manga kind of person, you can read the manga. But yeah, that is my recommendation to you.
Thank you for recommending.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it a lot. Yeah. Especially you are a woman, so there might be more connection to that type of character than maybe I would have directly to her. That whole childhood, young naivete, and maybe the coming of age and growing into like a new phase of the life. I can relate to that. But there's a couple things where it's like, maybe this doesn't 100 million% connect with me the same way it probably would with like a female or a woman or a girl reading it. But yeah.
What she actually reminded me of, that sounds very authentic and like genuine, and I'm a very big fan of those coming of age tales, things that feel real, the characters that feel real, to the point where you can put yourself in that person's perspective, and it doesn't feel hokey, it doesn't feel cartoony or anything like that. And I don't mean cartoony as in the style, because cartoons themselves can have really enriching stories. I'm talking cartoony as in like hokey story-wise.
That take you out of it. It makes the characters feel less real.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like this writer, the name escapes me currently. It's unfortunate. But the writer, if you look up any of these titles, you can find it. I actually want to read their latest book. At Night I Become a Monster, I think is what it's called. I really want to read it. I've been wanting to read it since it came out, but I haven't yet. But they do a really good job of like really making authentic characters that you can connect to, because the story takes the time to make us sympathize and feel what they feel and stuff. It doesn't feel as rushed. That's the one thing that maybe a movie does that a book can't. That's maybe the one thing that a book does that maybe a movie doesn't do as well. I found that with I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, because you're reading it at your own pace, you implant your own sense of pace and like time on these characters.
It becomes a part of your own ritual and a part of your own day. Because especially, I can relate to this. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, although it was a manga.
Mango, yeah.
Apologies, mango. It did take me a good amount of days in order to finish it. And like doing it in between different activities and stuff, and I really had to like zone in, because it's been a while since I've committed to finishing pretty much anything as far as a book or not a movie per se, but a manga as well. So like you were saying, you have to do it at your own pace,
Mhm.
and it becomes a little bit more involved on a personal level because you're taking the time out of your day to do that and have that moment with the story itself inside your own head.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, like the timing of like everything happening is to your pace, is to when you read that page.
Right.
Whereas like maybe a movie, maybe it's like, oh, this is happening a little bit faster than I thought it would. Or maybe this performance doesn't feel as true as it felt when I read it. Little things like that.
Right.
Which just come with having read something. I'm sure if I had seen the movie first, I would connect a shit ton with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But and I do connect. I think the movie is great. But my one thing with the movie is just, it feels a little bit quicker than I thought it was, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not a negative. I still rated that movie extraordinarily high.
Yeah.
I think on my anime list or whatever, which is the place where I just log what anime I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a personal tabs thing. I don't do it. I just kind of put what I saw there.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a 9.
Out of 10?
I think so. Maybe an 8. I think I gave it a 9 or 8.
Okay.
Something like that. But I definitely really liked it because the story is phenomenal.
Right.
But that's just the one thing that like whenever it comes to any adaptation of a book you've read, there's like, oh, well, in my head it was like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, like you just reminded me of a quote I saw recently. So I was trying to look up like specific quotes because I like to, my laptop is my workspace. It's also my sacred space. So it's a part of my daily rituals, whether it be doing assignments, attending virtual classes, whatever it may be, recording, editing, photoshopping, and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I like to make little sticky notes of quotes that stay on my desktop. So it's like little reminders and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to find something that was in cross-reference to both movies and books. And I came across a couple of the same quote, and I can't remember who it was who said it. It might have been Stephen King. Now that I think about it, it might have been Stephen King because a lot of his stories have been translated into movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make sense. But he said something along the lines of reading. As a reader, you are the director.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story's in front of you and the pacing is up to you. So I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's pretty much the point of the quote. Is as a reader, you are in the director's chair.
Yeah.
And you are setting the stage and you see the characters in your head, even if they're described right there in black and white, they're still going to be appearing in your head as you see them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the beautiful things of seeing something in a book versus seeing it translated to a movie. There's so many different perspectives. And I feel like variety is like really important regardless. Yeah.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. That's my little spiel.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like, you know, one of the impossible expectations is trying to meet a fan of a novel at their level for a movie. Mm-hmm. It's going to be impossible. Whether it's technically, whether we even have the technology to do something like Harry Potter in 1999, which we did, fortunately, and that movie is phenomenal. But maybe there are parts that aren't as strong because in my head they looked a little bit cooler. But when you do it in front of a green screen, maybe it doesn't look as nice. Even things as simple as that. Even if the movie is like a really great adaptation, if there's certain things where it's like, well, I really attached myself to this one scene that they cut out, things like that. But I think that makes it all the more impressive when something is a really good adaptation. When like a movie, even if it is facing some of those challenges, does have like that level of, oh, this really satisfied me as someone who's like intimately familiar with this book, like Dune or Lord of the Rings, where you're just like, oh, I'm there's no movies I think on the level of Dune or Lord of the Rings in connection to their novels. I'm not saying they're the best movies ever. Maybe they are the best movies ever.
Maybe they are.
I'm not saying that, but maybe they are, but who knows? But as someone who has read those books, there's like a level of like, there is such pure passion put into making this true to the story that you will not find anywhere else. And I think that's impressive. Obviously, you can't expect that of everything. Sometimes there's certain things, someone's angry slamming the door over there.
Uh-oh, maybe her night got ruined.
Oh, and maybe it's the same people that were screaming before.
Yeah, maybe she got kicked off the couch.
Oh yeah?
Her roommate's taking
She got back tired.
Poor chick.
Yeah.
Poor lady. hope she has a good night.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Sending good vibes.
Yeah. Send good vibes to whoever that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my spiel. That's my little bit. That's my little tangent, my little whatever. My little thing that spawned from whatever my just suggestion. My just suggestion.
Wow. Daniel, that translates to synonym transitions.
Yeah,
into
transitions.
my just suggestion.
What's your just suggestion?
I have a music recommendation for you.
You have a music recommendation for me?
I do, just for you.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like my little swan song to you, like my little love song to you.
Yeah.
Because so you've already heard it, but it's this one song called "Used Cars" by Rogue Soul.
Yeah.
And right around when we met, and you told me that you designed album covers for a musician, I was like, oh, he does what?
Yeah.
And you had sent me that song, and ever since then, it's been in pretty much all of my playlists, because that era where we haven't really met each other yet, but we're still in the talking stage and
getting to
there's,
know each other.
Mystery too.
Mm-hmm.
But all I knew is there was some really extreme good vibes, and I knew that something good was going to come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So that song is a representation of that era. So, podcast family, please go check out on Spotify. Used Cars by Rogue Soul. Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
And if he's listening, oh my gosh, if he's listening.
Rogue Soul, are you listening, Rogue Soul?
Listening? Oh, I love your music.
Oh, you're the best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's the best.
He's just cool.
Rogue Soul is
He's got
cool.
such good vibes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, love it. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's my just suggestion
That's
to
your just suggestion to me?
Uh-huh. Just to you.
Aw.
Mm-hmm. And
That's
to the
very sweet.
podcast family.
And to the podcast babies.
The podcast babies.
They're the podcast babies.
They are.
We're the podcast parents.
They're our podcast babies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said.
Yes,
They're our
yes,
podcast babies.
yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to emphasize on the hour.
You guys belong to us. You are our babies.
Okay, Daniel. Okay.
You are our babies.
I think I get it.
Do you understand that you are our babies?
That's mildly threatening.
I know.
Some weirdos are probably into it.
I'm getting right up here to the mic. I'm going to whisper very carefully. You are my baby.
That's just for Ryan.
That's just for you, Ryan. You're my baby. Did you like that? Was that a good bit?
That was good. That
was a good bit.
Yeah,
that was a
keep
good
that
bit.
in.
I think, while we're on the topic of maybe just suggestion, right?
Suggestion.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about just movies in general. Do you want to talk about movies in general?
Movies in general? Like what?
Maybe we should talk about something that we saw together.
Sure. What oh my
Something
goodness.
that maybe something like I don't know, that we would have vlogged on our letterboxd accounts and have a little bit of a letterboxing match.
Our letterboxing match?
A letterboxing
right
match.
here, right now, Daniel.
We're
You
gonna
challenge me to a letterboxing match.
Ring the bell. But yeah, letterboxing match is going to be a segment where we just kind of talk about a movie that we saw together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're going to trash talk it. Who knows?
Uh-huh.
But, Letterbox is the framing of a movie. It's also the name. Letterboxd is the name of an app where you can review and log movies that we both use.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our, and it's something that we maybe saw together. So it's a match. So, letterboxing match. It also sounds like a little fight thing. So, that's what that little bell was before.
But yeah. Okay, so, oh my gosh, we've seen so many. Don't you have a list, Daniel?
I do have a list. Now, if you follow me on Letterboxd, which I believe is, I think I'm DannyBoy978 or Dan Regino or Danny Regino. It's just if you look at my name, you'll find me, I think.
Yeah.
Something we saw together, according to the list, most recently, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want you to decide whether we talk about this thing that we both enjoyed or something that we maybe didn't enjoy as much. I'm leaning maybe more to this one.
I think more that one.
Yeah?
I agree. Yeah.
Well, the mystery movie in question that we're talking about, that we forgot to agree upon before recording, you guys are in on the process. You guys are both, we saw this movie the same days, like both of these movies that we're talking about the same day, so cut some slack.
Yeah.
You guys are in the process a little bit of the creative side. That's why you're our podcast babies. That's why. Hey, listen to podcast mommy and daddy. We're going to be discussing. We're going to be doing some planning on the air a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to plan what we're going to talk about sometimes. That's just how we roll. Is that how we roll, Winter?
That is how we roll.
Is that how we roll?
Yeah, it is.
Can you tell them in their ears?
That's how we roll, babies.
That's how we roll, babies, yeah. So the movie we're talking about is a phenomenal movie directed by the Daniels.
The Daniels that came through.
The Daniels. My brothers.
Oh, they were just perfection.
Yes. The movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
So good.
It is so good.
It is hard to explain, but it is a movie that is about the multiverse on the one hand.
And not the one with Doctor Strange. Oh, no.
This is not a multiverse of madness, okay? No. This is a multiverse where let's just say everything is happening everywhere all at once.
Oh my gosh, really? Is that how that goes?
I think that's how that goes.
Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know. That movie is so good. It's a movie directed by the Daniels, like I said, who are known for one of my personal favorites, The Swiss Army Man, starring Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. It's just a movie of Dan's. But this movie is starring Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan. I probably butchered that name. And Stephanie Su. They play a family of Chinese immigrants who are doing their taxes.
And doing laundry.
Yeah. Doing laundry and taxes.
Laundry and taxes.
It's a super simple movie. I'm sure if you watch it, there'll be at no point in the movie you'll be confused.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a multiverse movie. It is it does a really good job and a really unique job at keeping the audience engaged with the multiverse and the different stories that it's telling.
Agreed, yes.
And while integrating it in a way where they can do really, really interesting stuff with action, because it is a kung fu movie. We do have Michelle Yeoh as the lead.
Yeah. It's a really awesome kung fu in there.
Yeah, there's some really great kung fu. Specifically from Ke Huy Quan, who I guess his stage name is Jonathan Ke Quan, who played people might know him from the Goonies, and he played Short Round in Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. So he had a career as a child actor.
Wow.
And you know, acting in a couple movies as a kid in the 80s with Spielberg and stuff. Then he kind of went away, stopped acting. He moved into making movies, going behind the camera. He went to film school and decided that he wanted to get into like stunt coordinating, action choreography, getting into the more martial arts side and maybe directing his own movies, which I think is very admirable and very interesting. And maybe a year ago, maybe just before Everything Everywhere All at Once started being in production, maybe a couple years ago, he starred in a Netflix movie I don't remember the name of, but apparently that kind of reinvigorated his love for acting. He remembered, I love acting.
Yeah.
So now he's in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and he is so good. He is so good. And he is so lovable, and he's so good at the action and the performance and everything. And I can't wait to see him just get back into acting in this career that he, kind of moved away from, but is coming back to. And I'm happy to see also online buzz is also very positive for him. People love him, and he's so great in this movie. He does a lot of, for the sci-fi elements, a lot of carrying on his shoulders of different characters that are supposed to be the same guy. He does that very well.
He does, yeah. Those transitions in between the two different personalities are just like so smooth.
So good.
They're so smooth and so elegant and so purposeful too.
Yeah.
And like his body language as well, he really does put a lot of effort into really diving into both of those characters equally.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Even when he has to portray another version of himself.
Right. Like
there's a segment that's really great, without spoiling it. It's a little bit of a Wong Kar-wai reference. If you've seen some of the alternate posters of the movie, you might recognize it. He's doing an impression essentially of someone from one of those movies, and he's doing a really great job. And Michelle Yeoh is obviously phenomenal.
Oh yeah. And
she's some really great action. It's great to see her starring in a movie too. But yeah, I don't know. What are some of your thoughts? I feel like I've been doing a lot of talking here.
Well,
a lot of talking about actors and stuff.
well, transitioning into production companies.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite production companies behind this film, A24 Nerds. Where are you
Oh
at?
yeah, where's all the film nerds out
Oh
there?
my gosh, film nerds,
Oh my
come one
God,
and all.
Film Twitter.
You
film
loved
Letterboxd.
Hereditary. You loved The Vavitch.
The Vavitch.
Oh boy, do we have something for you. Everything Everywhere All at Once is such a, and if I had to put it into a genre, I'd just say miscellaneous.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
perfect.
there was just something for everybody.
Mhm.
And like there's a key takeaway for everybody from that movie. And the great part about it is, no spoilers, the center of it and the root of it all is family. And
Mhm.
everyone can relate to those family tensions. Pretty much anything to do with family. I feel like that unites us all, including in our podcast family too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think there's a lot to be pulled from this movie.
there really is. Yeah.
Mhm. And those family things that you're talking about, they're so rooted. And it's not just like family in a certain way.
Right.
So family that you choose, family that you have.
Right.
You know, you have one family. We can choose. We can have a chosen family. Like there's also like blood family and like where we come from and how we were raised and stuff like that too. And it talks about like connecting those and seeing where maybe things are like, this is overstepping boundaries, this is disrespectful, and maybe learning from that, and vice versa. Maybe learning to like be better and grow and change for each other, as like, you know, there's a whole segment where the husband and wife segment of a family, the daughter, father, daughter's mother, like these types of relationships that like are just important. They're
Right.
different. And it's not just all resolved when one of those relationships reaches its conclusion in the arc. Everything has to happen separately at its own pace, because that's how it kind of happens in real life.
Right.
And I feel like the movie did a really great job while being simultaneously hilarious and ridiculous and like really high concept science fiction and all this kind of shit. It does a really good job of just grounding it on something so real. And I feel like that's the power. That's the power of something like this.
And it's very important when going into this movie, for those who haven't seen it yet, let go of what you think you know and just allow your mind to be open, and you will enjoy this movie so much more. So much more with an open mind. 110%. And not to mention, like, part of the genre, or the root of it all, is the coming of age part as well.
Yeah.
Also, being a parent of someone who's blossoming into a young adult. That also comes with its challenges as well. And the way that they deliver and they translate those struggles, it's very, very relatable to the modern audience. And they do it respectfully, and they do it with such elegance and grace. Yeah. So, AKA, go see this movie. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get up from your couch, go see this movie.
Don't walk, run.
What? Stop.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Get up, pump those arms, hustle.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. And another important thing in the movie too is it's the immigrant experience from different generations too. You have like this the immigrant experience, this first generation, like, you know, am I American? Am I where my parents are from? This like conflict that a lot of people have. And I come from a family of immigrants, and there's something I can recognize in that too. And there's things like that like, you know, movies are starting to do more and more now, and I think that's an incredibly positive thing. How it's like, you know, maybe this experience from this culture is different here in the United States, and adapting to what certain parts of it, and, you know, cherishing and maintaining other parts of it is important. Like keeping true to where you came from, but also like this is maybe not the world I'm in anymore. Right.
But also finding your own identity as well too.
Exactly.
As just like as your own individual person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are very important lessons to learn, and we all learn them at a different pace. But this movie genuinely displays them in a way that's artistic and colorful and creative, and like it's all around just a good time. Yeah. And you can see it with pretty much anyone. Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm definitely gonna watch this with my parents 110%.
I think that's a great idea. Like, legitimately. It's one of those movies where it's like, this is simultaneously like laugh out loud funny and gonna make you cry. Yeah. And I think that's something great. I think that's something awesome.
It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Hannah Montana, yeah.
Did you just... Hannah Montana? Googly eyes and sausage fingers.
Oh my god. Hey, spoiler!
No spoilers. No spoilers. No,
No,
that's
no,
a little
no.
teaser. If you want to know what that means, go watch the fucking movie.
Also, hey, whoa, watch your profanity.
Language.
Daniel, be nice to them. Language.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to swear in front of the babies.
Also, not to mention that, like, this genre really does just have everything on a bagel.
Oh, yeah? What does that mean?
For
Who
the
knows?
natural consumer.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
It's like an everything bagel. It's a little bit of something for everybody. Yeah.
And well, I mean, transitioning into our next segment, where, Daniel,
Yeah.
we're
What's the
going to
segment?
do the compliment segment.
Compliment segment?
Yeah, so we're nearing the end of our first episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that it's very important that we reinstate the connection.
Mm-hmm.
We refine the connection and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and we bring it all in. This cluster of conversation that we've had today.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, in reference to Everything Everywhere All at Once, if all I had was taxes and laundry with you, I'd be equally happy.
I'd be equally happy too.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
I think one thing that is definitely worth complimenting about you is your creativity and your intelligence and your organizational ability, and the fact that you were able to conceptualize and think of and organize so much of just what we're doing right now. This is the first episode of something that we're podcast parents of,
Yeah, we're podcast parents.
and so much of that is owed to you and your creativity and your ability to come up with something like that. So I think that's something that you have really strong and really great about you, really true to your heart and stuff, that you have like that passion and that interest to like create and, you know, make things real that are yours.
You only had to do one.
Yeah, that's my compliment for you.
That's a big one.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you, baby.
Of course.
Well, podcast family,
I think it's important to compliment.
I think it's important to
Yeah.
compliment too.
And I think,
I
do
think
you have a message to say for
I
them?
think I have a message for our podcast family.
What do you think?
I think now hearing all this positivity that we've been spreading to each other,
Mhm.
you have to go pass it on to somebody else.
Exactly.
So I challenge you today to go out there and compliment pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
Could be a stranger. Could
Go
be like,
compliment
hey,
somebody.
I like your shoes. Your Converse are cool. Like,
Yeah.
could be anything. Could
You
be a
have a very
coworker.
beautiful dress on.
Oh, well, thank you.
I like your smile.
I like your smile too.
Your hair is pretty.
Oh my god, they're gonna throw up.
No, this is for people to say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But it's about you.
Oh, of course.
Pass
But yeah, go out there, compliment someone,
Yeah.
make someone's day.
it forward.
You never know who needs it.
Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Oh my God, drink some water and
some
compliment
water.
somebody.
Man, after that like half-hour long water segment the
Mhm.
first time, you're really not gonna go drink water. Now this is the last straw.
You've just
Kiddo,
been
kiddo.
skipping. You've just been skipping
been
the
skipping?
episode, and guess what?
Listen,
We still want you to drink water the
You know what?
entire time.
drink water. You're grounded.
Mhm.
That's it. I said it.
Yeah, go to your
Put it on
podcast
this
baby
down.
crib.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Podcast baby daycare.
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna go.
Uh-huh.
If you haven't drinking some water, you thought you can skip later in the episode and we wouldn't be talking about drinking water?
Wow.
You thought no, don't
You
rewind.
silly good.
The
Stop
entire
it.
time. No. The entire time we've been talking about drinking water and you still haven't done it.
Hmm.
I can't believe you would skip to this part of the episode and not have drinking any water.
I'm not upset. I'm disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed.
After all we did to raise you as our podcast baby,
Mm-hmm.
you would just not listen to us one time and drink some water?
Y'all shaggedy.
Mm-hmm. The
Go listen to
Oshagity indeed.
Scooby-Doo on Spotify. Shall we wrap it up, Danny?
Yeah, I think usually we would wrap it up with our little segment where you would leave us off with a music recommendation. Would you like to leave us off with a music recommendation?
Yes,
Is it the same
indeed.
one as maybe your Just Suggestion segment?
Of course, because consistency is important. But it's such a good song. I think I need to recommend it twice.
Yes, I agree.
think so.
Yeah. So every week we'll have a
Mhm.
segment called Winter's Bebop Boobops.
Bebop Boobops.
Winter's Bebop Boobops.
Uh-huh.
Where Winter will suggest a song that either fits the theme of the week or something that she's been feeling that day or anything in general.
Just like vibes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Vibes to carry on your day, that kind of thing.
a good recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And something that maybe we'll at the end play a little segment of after we close out the podcast, and you guys can go about your day and maybe you can go listen to that song on Spotify, see if it's something that you would
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
Go save it to your playlist, like it, follow the artist on Instagram
Oh my
and
God.
whatnot.
Yeah.
Which leads me to what song I'm referencing. If you didn't hear before, Rogue Soul with his song Used Cars.
Used cars.
Yeah, Used Cars, guys.
Mhm.
Also, wasn't that album cover designed by someone in particular?
Was that album? You know the person who designed that album
Oh
cover?
my god, I think I do.
Yeah.
I think it's my fellow podcast parent.
Oh yeah. Is it the
Yeah.
podcast daddy?
It's
No, I'm not gonna say that. I hate that. That's the worst. No.
I hate
I'm
it.
never. That's the worst thing that's ever come out of my mouth. No, yeah, that's never.
Oh, you need to wash your mouth. That was so bad for that one.
it has to be paired with mommy and daddy. Like, you can't. No,
nuh-uh.
yeah, I'll say that because that's like a little bit uncomfortable. But if it's just one, it's like
It's worse.
it's bad, right?
No, it's so bad. Yeah. But my fellow podcast parent. He
Yeah,
put so much work into that album and he did so well.
yeah.
It's visually pleasing. You have to go see it for yourself. I'm not gonna give you more spoilers. You gotta go see it for
Yeah.
yourself.
I
And
just
in order to do that, you gotta go listen to that dang song.
you gotta listen to that goddamn song.
Hey, whoa, stop praying. Watch your praying.
Stop praying. I'm sorry. It slips out sometimes.
It's okay.
But yeah. If you enjoyed this episode,
Yeah.
follow us on anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Mhm.
Spotify, iTunes, Castbox,
Indeed.
anywhere. Anchor.fm/podcastparents. That's Anchor.fm/podcastparents if you want to go to our main page, but you can always listen to us wherever podcasts are found. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at DCRFilms and at Dan Reguino. Winter.
Well, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I'm winter_rains if you want to check in on the fam and whatnot and my casual goings. If you like witchcraft and spirituality and nature stuff and crystal healing, I am a witch who travels with crystals in her purse and I take pictures of it.
Mhm.
So you can check that out at Winter Rain Snowflake, which is actually my nickname given to me by my dad. Hi Dad, if you're listening, Rick_Mortis_Shrek.
Yeah.
If you're interested in possibly my film reviews, if you want to hear more about my insight on stuff, you can check me out at WinTerribleShrek on Instagram. I post book reviews, I post movie reviews, I post things about going to conventions and all that stuff. And there may be some future cosplays of me and Daniel on there at
Oh,
one
yeah?
point. Yeah, I very much look forward to it.
There might be some of those on my Instagram too, I think.
Oh my god, should we collab?
Oh my god, I think
Should
we
we
should.
do like a thing where we like have a podcast and we be the parents and we have a podcast
I think we should do a podcast together.
that
We're
on the-
podcast parents.
We're just reenacting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
You don't have any other ones?
I don't think so. I mean, I have Facebook. For all you old people out there, fellow 90-year-olds stuck in 19-year-old bodies.
Oh yeah.
With the fellow old souls. Let's keep it at that.
Mhm.
Fellow old souls, if you want to check me out on the Facebook.
The Facebook.
The Facebook. I am Winter Rain, and I am WinTerribleShrek.
Very
And
cool.
WinTerribleShrek is reviews, but very much like Instagram,
Mhm.
and Winter Rain is family stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that.
And you also have a very lovely shop for your art.
I do indeed. I like to dabble in drawing,
Mhm.
in the ink pictures and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's called Winter's Whimsies on Instagram. You can check that out. I also have a store, believe it or not, where I
Yeah.
sell tote bags and these really cool shirts that are kind of designated to like one of my besties, like one of my all-time favorite peoples.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a groovy shirt out there.
That's a really groovy shirt.
There's a groovy shirt.
Maybe it's quite literally a groovy
It's
shirt.
literally groovy.
That is a groovy shirt.
Groovy exception shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out my store, check out my Instagrams, check out my Facebooks.
Yeah. And that has been the inaugural pilot episode of the podcast Parents. That's us.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my god.
we did it! So how you want to wrap it up?
Hmm?
How you want to wrap it up? How you want to say goodbye?
I don't know. How should we say goodbye?
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Remember, drink water, pass on a good compliment, have a beautiful day.
Yeah, we did it!